Weganawagerono, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk. Mike Stock Sr.
Christine Taylor.
Ross Montour.
So, how has it been going since our last show?
Well, it's summer now officially.
Yeah.
And I think along with the whole summer situation, I think a lot of us usually get ready for all the outdoor things that are going on. So there's a lot of outdoor activities for families, for kids, and different things going on. But I guess the story that's on everybody's mind and in everybody's heart is the tragedy that happened recently at the quarry.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of some people are talking about how the family found out on Facebook and different things like that. Others, a lot of people are talking about the security issue and liability, and there's so many different things that there is.
Well, communication is different nowadays. I mean, it always was. You know, that people got on the horn and people use the phone. People hear. The word gets around. It always has had a way of getting around, but now because of cell phones, texting,
It's instantaneous.
Facebook, it's instantaneous, and it's almost impossible to put a lid on it. This created an incredible amount of tension in the community.
Yeah.
It was palpable to drive around on Friday, and especially amongst the parents, anybody who was a parent age, but I found especially mothers. You know, could be mothers, grandmothers. For instance, Lynn was completely, she was almost beside herself. It didn't matter that it wasn't her child. It didn't matter that, but imagine everybody thinking, first we heard it was a 10-year-old, and then we heard it was one individual and then another. Everybody's got this, and of course it's blocked off. Can't get up there. And then there was the Eastern Doors article on the front page, tragedy waiting to happen, and it just, it's an awful coincidence that or a sad thing that it should come true like that.
That it was in the paper, and then that the same day I just like to say, I guess our condolences go out to the family. It's
Absolutely.
It's an unfortunate situation or accident that happened, and and again, it's been talked about for a long time that. God forbid if something happens or somebody drowns or somebody gets hurt, and
Well, there had been a number of incidences there in terms of some fights and disturbances, some injuries.
Things with drugs are always a concern.
Yeah.
Drugs and alcohol.
Because it is an
site.
unsupervised area, and that teens tend to congregate in an unsupervised area. You're going to get that more dangerous element of substances, not necessarily just drugs or whatever, but the alcohol is also a major issue. And apparently that alcohol, as you know, can cause a lot, if not more damage than, say,
Well,
standard
number
drugs.
one, it's legal.
Well, it's legal, but it is illegal, no matter what anybody says, that alcohol, if anybody under the age of 18 consumes alcohol, it's illegal. No matter
for sure.
No matter if, ands, or buts, it's illegal.
And that isn't the question. And yes, that's going on. In this particular case, I guess I'm thinking about the specific case we're talking about. Here you have somebody who was of age. That raises questions, I think, in my mind about the kinds of questions that as a community we need to be asking.
And we're not saying whether alcohol was involved or not.
No, we're not
but
saying.
that's still undetermined if
No.
any at all. What we're more or less talking about is the incident and some of the things that are going on there, and maybe not specifically that situation.
One thing that I do know is going on, and this is the other side of this, is that there were a number. The fact is there were a number of young kids there, kids from the age of 14 that I know personally, 15, 16, and of that age. And those kids have been deeply troubled since Lynn's granddaughter witnessed this poor guy struggling. And so all that, I know the fire department did an intervention to bring the kids back and do a debriefing with them, which is important. But that's an ongoing thing as well. It's a very
I guess some of the
thing.
some of the tough questions that have to be asked, or some of the things that have to be looked at is the safety issue, and you know, obviously there may be liability issues, but more a safety issue than anything else. You know, they're always saying that, you know, the peacekeepers, you know, step up patrols. If the peacekeepers stepped up patrols on everything that people wanted them to step up patrols on, we wouldn't have enough, you know, or would eat up their budget on doing that. I mean, I'm not making an excuse for them, but it's difficult. The other thing that's hard is because even though a lot of that stuff is going on, when the police do arrive, and I know from the past by doing this, is that there's no way to get in. You can't drive in. You have to go on foot because they blocked it so no cars would go in there because people were throwing cars in, and, you know, and then that becomes another issue with cars being, even though some of them do go in the ATCs. But it's so big that there's groups going all over the place, and it's almost impossible to run and chase and to police the whole thing. You know, I think that some of the adults that are going there to try to do with their family or their...
Yeah, and the thing is, though, is it's not all just kids, and we're talking about adults, and we're talking about community members in general, condoning the use of that area as a recreational area. And for me, personally, I don't go there, but I understand why somebody would want to go there, because this is what I think was that several years ago when they closed the pool, the town pool, there was no recreational place for the kids that don't have pools to go swimming, and that was a marked increase in the people that were actually using the quarry, especially the kids and stuff.
And they have seen an increase because of that. You know, we find money for everything else, but you know, it's ridiculous that there's no public pool in this community. It is for the amount of money that's in this community, and we don't have a public pool. It's asinine not to. And it doesn't matter why we don't, but you know what I mean. There should be one, and maybe we can alleviate some of those things.
You know that there was one community member who began a fund to raise money for a town pool. But then there was all this talk about, well, they were looking at a plan for
it started off as a pool. Next thing you know, it was
this and that, and of course then it stalls. But so that kind of stifles individual initiative or community initiative, or seems to have. That money apparently is still there. It's still in an account. So that's something to be looked at, you know.
Some of the other things that you know you have to also, I guess, look at is it's private property. Technically, it's owned by individuals in the community. It is fenced in, you know, majority of it. People are trespassing, regardless of how you look at it. They are trespassing. When somebody trespasses on your property, does it make you liable for that, though? You know, if the community decides that that's going to be something that that is going to keep going in years or in the future, then those things have to be addressed.
Right.
You know.
And I think it was just very appropriate that it was Carl Horner was talking about it in the paper on Friday, like you said, the front page. And these are many things that were coming up, and they were looking at solutions. You know, maybe this will, well, I hope that, you know, this will drive that forward a little bit quicker, maybe, you know, and that would be a good way to at least start looking at doing something about it and coming to solutions.
But what do you do in the meantime? You know what I mean? There should be. You know, it's hard because at the last minute to have a plan, but there should be something.
Okay. Just hold that thought. We're going to take a break now. We'll come back with more Straight Talk after these messages.